What do King Ares Targaryen, the second of his name, not the first, don't get it twisted, and the Liver King have in common? They both lost their goddamn mind.
Liver is king!
Hey girlies, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chelsea, you know that, I know that. I'm just a lady with a bulldog, a camera, and too many opinions. And I have a lot of opinions about scammers in general. And the scammer we're talking about today is not Lion King, not Tiger King, but Liver King, also known as Brian Johnson.
Liver King. That's my name. Liver is king, the ancestral way, that's the message.
I will need to know how hard Liver King Chef Lionel, despite all the flies and the delicious fucking fries, works on Saturday!
Here it goes. Oh.
We are going to Liver King Ranch. Oh, we got supplements too, man.
Because Joe Rogan.
I am picking a fight.
Now, before we get into him being arrested for terroristic threats, which I think that's a little dramatic, but we'll get into that in a minute. And then, of course, him being released and then going right back to it, right back to threatening. That's a choice. We need to get into first the downfall of him in general. So let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Sleeping on wood boards, not having your phone near you while you sleep because 5G is getting into your brain, eating raw liver and animal testicles, and doing everything you can to pretend to be all natural, despite spending around $11,000 on steroid injections each month. Brian Johnson, aka Liver King, is a fitness scammer, but fitness influencer, known for eating raw organ meats, especially liver, on camera, promoting his ancestral tenants lifestyle, selling supplement lines branded around primal living. And like I said, he's claimed to be all natural, never used steroids, and attributed his super jacked physique to eating raw liver and that ancestral living. Now, anyone looking at him can literally see, like, that's not natty. That ain't natural. The same people that believe that he is like all natural also think that Dwayne Johnson, you know, The Rock, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? You know, Maui, think that he's all natural. People aren't just built like that, okay? That's not how the human body works. And listen, if you're not selling, we've talked about this so many times, if you're not selling anything and you're not, you know, claiming to get this physical form from XYZ opposed to steroids, hormone replacement therapy, things like that, then okay, who cares? But otherwise it's false advertisement and that's scamming, and I'm not okay with that. That's not cute. Do you smell that? Smells classy. Smells designer. It smells like luxury. It smells rich, honestly. It smells like Dossier. Oof, that smells like Mugler's Angel. Yeah. Now just imagine, you can get this for $150 or you can get this for $32. And this actually has a little bit more in it. So thanks to Dossier, you can smell like the breadwinner. You can smell like someone's rich wife. You can smell fancy, rich, extravagant, sun-kissed, like you're just walking through Harrods on a random Tuesday at 3 p.m. That's giving I smell good. That's giving luxury, but with all those luxury prices. Now, as you can tell, Dossier is the sponsor of this video. Duh. I love Dossier so much. I also love that I can actually get Dossier perfumes, my favorite ones now, at CVS. So God forbid I forgot to reorder any of my favorite ones and I'm traveling, or hey, I just need it right now because I am obsessed with fragrances. I can just hop in my golf cart, swerve past a few alligators if needed, and hop right on over to CVS down the street and pick up my favorite ones. Dossier impressions are inspired by some of the most popular luxury fragrances out there. Y'all know I have said many times that every time I wear the Ambre Saffron one, which is inspired by Baccarat Rouge, girl, every time I hug someone who like religiously wears Baccarat Rouge, girl, they'll smell me and be like, oh my gosh, that's what I wear too. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Except for mine was $49 and yours was like $300. So why pay those insane price tags when you don't have to? With Dossier, you can get that luxury without the markups. Check out the link in my description box to select from the wide range of their impression fragrances. Thank you, Dossier, for sponsoring this video. In late 2022, leaked emails showed that Brian, the Liver King, was spending anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 per month on steroids. A fitness influencer, Derek, from More Plates, More Dates, y'all should definitely check out his channel, he's amazing, released a bombshell video with receipts, blood work, cycle plans, and payment emails. And this obviously blew up because it exposed the Liver King as the liar that he is. His brand was built on, you don't need steroids, just live a primal and like stripped down life. Girl, steroids is not primal.
All right, next email, July 18th, 2021. My new IGF-1 and GH results are in. Thank God I'm finally in the normal range. Having said that, I want to get my IGF-1 to 300. As a reminder, I've been taking 4 vials of Omnitrope, 5.8 milligrams per week. So 69.4 international units per week, whatever that was. So roughly 10 IU per day of pharma grade GH. Should I pay an extra $5,000 per month? That's $15,000 per month in total, or try one of your sources to get better shit. And we can see here, IGF-1 using high sensitivity testing, 204 nanograms per milliliter, longitudinal data points here that show a trend upwards from May to mid-July. Keeping in mind the dosage he's using, his IGF-1 should be way higher. Like, this is very, very odd to say the least.
Now, after Derek from More Plates, More Dates, like I said, he's amazing, made his expose video about it, Derek's YouTube channel was growing at a steady rate and doing pretty well. However, that video itself really made it grow more. And then going on podcasts like the Joe Rogan podcast, and then also the Tiny Meat Gang podcast and a few others, kind of doing like a press junket, which is great. Love that for him. Really helped him grow his platform even more. And realistically, he is someone who calls out stuff like that and educates people about these types of things. So it fits right in with his content. And like I said, in December of 2022, he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and they talked about it.
Oh, he has, have you seen his apology?
No, I haven't. I want to watch it. He comes clean on steroids. I fucked up.
And it is really interesting as well, even in this interview with Joe Rogan, him and Derek watch and really do a reaction to the Liver King's, I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny, to his like apology video, but it's not really an apology video because he said, I'm sorry I lied. And he talked about or admitted to using PEDs or PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, but not like steroids for the purpose of getting jacked. And then he goes into this, in my opinion, manipulation tactic of like educating people about men wanting to off themselves and depression. It just took a turn. Listen, when it comes to like influencer apologies, that one's gotta be very high up there. Not like ukulele apology, but it's definitely above James Charles calling himself desperate and like Laura Lee snot bubble crying.
Clearly, I did it wrong. And I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids. And yes, I'm on steroids and I'm living managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves. The 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life. Our young men are hurting the most.
Now, keep in mind, like I said, that interview was 2 years ago. That's not 2 years ago. That's 3 years ago. 2.5 years ago. But of course, since his brand was built on being all natural, and then it came out with literal facts that he isn't, and then he kind of admitted to it, but then tried to manipulate his audience, I guess. He was roasted across social media for the blatant hypocrisy and lying. So of course, losing a lot of credibility with people, but I feel like his main audience base is men who are already, no offense to, men who are on steroids, but like men who are already on steroids. So it's like they already knew. So like they didn't care. To really be canceled, it has to be your own audience who cancels you. And then you have to accept it. He did not accept it. And his own audience didn't cancel him.
We want to help the guy and get him back on track and at least get him to know, hey, Joe Rogan's not your enemy, bro. Like, McDonald's is your enemy, and just kind of check in, see what's going on. Oh, we got supplements too, man. I'm about to pop some of this thymus, man.
Let's go.
Dude, we are here, guys. We got stoked on the old
Dude, we're at the
and we got both bands in the Liver King hands. Let's go.
So much more room for activity.
Yeah, man. Dude, and you hooked us up with subs, man. What else do we got here? Oh, Barbarian Water, bro.
Now, after that, Liver King still was, coming out with like supplement brands and those types of products and helping people live the like primal, ancestral, whatever, and like continuing with his brands and doing a lot of collabs and videos with influencers and all that. And one of my favorite ones, actually, it wasn't a collab, but he sent Danny Gonzalez, because Danny Gonzalez first and foremost did like a video making fun of him. And then Danny Gonzalez was like, let me try like his ancestral tenets and live like him for a week and see how I feel. And then Liver King sent him like raw liver, but then like the ice packs melted and Danny like almost died in his kitchen. So that was a great video. I'll have that linked down below.
You guys are probably wondering whether eating raw beef liver is good for you or not, because that's what I was wondering. Am I gonna die?
So let's fast forward to now. You've probably seen every news article, every commentary, whoever, talking about how the Liver King was arrested for making terroristic threats. That's the like formal verbiage of the charge, but making threats against Joe Rogan. Yes. Of the Joe Rogan Experience, the podcaster, the OG podcaster, if you will. And it has been so weird because it's not like an active beef. So this entire time I was like, what's going on? Joe Rogan doesn't seem like the type of person who will be like antagonistic like that and like troll someone and go back and forth, really. It's very interesting. And I was trying to see like, okay, did Joe Rogan like talk about him recently or anything like that? And apparently he has like given comment to like some news outlets regarding this, but with like his own podcast and stuff, as of right now, from what I'm seeing, it doesn't seem like he has talked about it or like really fed into it is what I'm meaning. But then I took a closer look. One of my favorite things happened. It's when a scammer is so delusional that they think that when a streaming service, Netflix, HBO, Hulu, whoever, is making a documentary about them and they think it's going to be positive. And so they sign that appearance release, signing off that, they have no control over how it's edited and they're not going to see a final cut. And that's industry standard. And they can't, take legal action, even if they like are edited in and not pretty light. Again, that is industry standard for literally all like production everywhere. And, he signed on to this project. He was interviewed for it. He was featured in it. He promoted it in early May and then it was released. And then it seems like that's when the crash out really started. And now he's going off on podcasts all over, on his own social media, on other people's social medias, saying that everyone should boycott Netflix and boycott the director and the producer and like the production company who made this. And like they lied to him and about him. And it's like, they didn't paint you in a bad light. Like you did things that made you look bad because you did things that were bad. So what are you talking about?
Did you mislead people?
And you might be thinking, well, where the fuck does Joe Rogan come in? Now, Joe Rogan wasn't like in the documentary himself. However, the criticisms that were included in that episode with Derek from More Plates, More Dates, and those criticisms were a part of that. So it got me thinking. I was like, why the crash out right now in terms of like calling out Joe Rogan? I truly think that he maybe doesn't know or like previously didn't watch Derek on the Joe Rogan Experience on that podcast episode because that episode was posted after his apology. So maybe he just like didn't watch anything after that. Maybe he doesn't have a TV. Maybe that's when he was like putting his phone in a 5G proof bag or something. Who knows? Maybe he was like hiding in a bush. Like it looks like in this video, like he fell face first onto a cactus. Are you okay? Where have you been? Like, in this video, he like stuck branches in his vest that he's wearing before filming that. Like, how much cocaine and baby birds do you have in your beard? At least 2 separate families of birds and at least an ounce of cocaine. So personally, I'm thinking that was the crash out or the trigger to the crash out, maybe. I mean, I personally think he's been crashing out for like a while, but just overall, like he looks not great and like he has been like living outside and like, he looks very weathered. Like he's been subjected to the elements a lot. And I'm just like scared for his family personally, for his wife and kids. But let's go over what he said, what's happening, how he, what's he doing? On June 24th/25th, Austin Police Department arrested Brian Johnson at the Four Seasons Hotel in downtown Austin after he posted a series of Instagram videos aggressively challenging Joe Rogan to a fight. He faces 1 count of making a terroristic threat, which is a Class B misdemeanor. And in the clips, he said, Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out man to man. I'm picking a fight with you. I have zero training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. Your rules, and just kept going on and on and on.
Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out.
Hoping that you'll choke me out. I pray to God, because that's a dream come true.
If anyone knows where its family's going to be today, if you could let my team know so that we can stay within 200 yards.
And he traveled from his home in Willis, Texas to Austin and filmed himself on the Capitol grounds ramping up his threats.
Fitness influencer The Liver King has been arrested for threatening Joe Rogan. Brian Johnson, known for his love of eating raw animal organs, has been charged with terroristic threat after posting a series of Instagram stories calling Rogan out for a fight, saying he hoped the podcaster would choke him out as that would be a dream come true. Texas police contacted Rogan about the videos, who said he didn't know Johnson and he did find the content of the videos threatening.
Now, apparently, he was posting all these threats 2 days after he posted a series of videos on his Instagram page, including one of him appearing shirtless and holding what appear to be 2 golden firearms before allegedly traveling to Joe Rogan's hometown. According to Austin Police Department, Joe Rogan told authorities that the 2 men have never met and that he felt the videos were threatening in nature. Detectives subsequently obtained a warrant for his arrest, and he was taken into custody at the nearby Four Seasons Hotel without incident.
If anyone who's around us can alert us that there might be anyone with the last name Rogan around, and then we're going to go to the Capitol at 7 p.m. every day. We'll be at the Capitol where they make laws. Rogan versus Liver King. Yeah, I don't know if you might know who I am, you might not. It doesn't really matter the name, but it's Liver King. I'm picking a fight. Who's it with? Seth Rogen. It's with Seth Rogen. And what's it for? Family.
Now, after being released, he's still doing it on house arrest, still bitching about the podcast that Joe Rogan did 2.5 years ago, which he just talked about facts. And then also about the documentary that, again, talked about facts. I mean, good Lord, what do you think was going to happen? And so he's been doing podcasts and still doing collabs. He just has people coming to his house or his compound, or like the Liver Ranch, I guess is what they call it. I don't know if it's like their guest house or like an Airbnb they have next to their house or something. But let's just play a little clip from one of these podcast clips we have here. What he's saying makes no fucking sense.
I subordinated my highest swords of father and husband to try Liver King. To try to do a thing that I knew that I couldn't fucking do, so I'd have to give so much of myself to it that I compromised higher swords to do it. That's the tangent. We're not talking about that. The barbarian. These guys are barbarians. You did the hardest thing that you knew that you thought you couldn't do. You have new limits, a new man, a new name. The barbarian status, and there's a symbol. It's under here. There's a symbol. And can we shake hands for a second?
Yeah, brother.
That's a regular handshake, right? That's a regular handshake. Do you know Mark and Chris Bell? Mm-hmm. So those guys gave me the gift of this, united.
Yeah.
United. And then we look like this, and I see your barbarian crown, you see my crown.
Let me just repeat what he just said. I subordinated my highest swords of father to try Liver King. Sir, you're wearing 2 watches. Is whining about being bullied by a documentary you signed on to, and people talking about your own behavior and false advertising, is continuing to complain about that and crush it on the internet? Is that primal? Is that ancestral? I don't know if that checks out.
This one pound, what do we do?
Lock it down.
This was right when he was released, before I went home, I guess. Imagine checking into the Four Seasons, the Ritz-Carlton, one of those. And you're walking down the hallway and you see this. Nightmare fuel. Whoever is filming that is not his friend. I mean, most likely he's paying them, so they're an employee. So, Also, peep the ankle monitor. So who knew that, the final ancestral tenet was meth and mania, apparently. But that's wild. That's apparently why Liver King is crashing out. Wish him the best. Weird, man. Weird. And I know there's going to be some people who are like, oh my God, I can't believe Joe Rogan's such a little bitch. If this person was challenging you to fight And then if they like stayed where they are, okay, ignore it. But they travel to where you are to come fight you and like to come find you. That absolutely should be taken seriously. Like that's not okay. This person clearly is like, it's very scary. So thank God he's on house arrest. Apparently he has to have mental health and like wellness checks and stuff like that. I don't know, but hopefully he does well with that. He's having influencers at his house and wrestling them on the ground currently on his Instagram story. And they're like putting him in a headlock. So cool. Is this gay? Is it gay? Like, why are y'all doing all this? But women are too emotional, right? All right, that is going to be it for this video. If you are subscribed, your butt looks so good. You don't need any steroids, babe. She is pushed up, she is plump, she is lifted, she looks great. However, if you are not subscribed, you're dead to me, and I hope that you run into your kitchen counter and get a bruise, like right on your hip bone, you know? That sucks. I hate when that happens. I'm like the perfect height to where it like assaults me every day. Also, I run into door frames a lot as well. My body just be moving, you know? Anyways, make sure that you are following me on Instagram, TikTok, all those places. I've been trying to do TikTok live more and talk about, you know, the scammers I'm covering and all of that, and just hang out with y'all across all social media. My username is CCSUAREZ. And I do have 2 podcasts, the Elizabeth podcast, which is the limited series podcast that I have about the serial con artist, Elizabeth Teckenbrock, and then the Here for the Clout podcast as well that I have with my co-host and co-producer, Sherilyn Dale, who is also a social media commentary channel here on YouTube. So all of that, as always, is linked down below. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, weekend, whenever you're watching this. Stay spicy, stay assertive, stay sexy. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.